Hello, we are on the Real Programming channel. It is about HTML and CSS. My name is Andrei. This is our 35th lesson. I greet you. We will talk about fixing dead errors in HTML. Okay, this looks pretty simple to fix. You just need to add an alt attribute to your image elements in HTML5. Go ahead and open along HTML and make the change, save, and then let's try to validate again. You know the alt attribute, add it into the image element. Brain power. Why do you think the alt attribute is required in HTML5? We are almost here. There. Success. We have a green bar on the page. Just that must be good, but there are 3 warnings. That sounds like we've still got a few things to take care of. Let's take a look. We passed, but there are a few warnings. We should scroll down and take a look. First, no worries. Here this is standard wording always. You'll see as long as this validator is considered to be experimental by the W3C, which could be for a long time. This looks like a problem caused by leaving out some information about your character encoding. We'll see what that's about in a sec. And this just says that they are going to assume a character encoding given we didn't supply one. So we've got a valid file in terms of how we've written the HTML. But it looks like we need to do something about our character encoding. Let's take a look at what that means. Adding a meta tag to specify the character encoding. Character encodings give us way to represent all the letters, number and other symbols in our language on the computer. You might know of some of these encodings like ASCII or even Morse code. And then are many other encoding out there. Luckily, the world has now standardized on the Unicode character encoding. With Unicode, we can represent all languages with one type of encoding, but given there are other encodings out there, we still need to tell the browser we are using encode or another encoding of your choice. To specify encode for your web pages, you'll need a meta tag in your HTML that looks like this. Meta means we are going to tell the browser something about the page. The character attribute is where we specify the character encoding. The value of the character set attribute adds the type of character encoding we are using. Just like other HTML tags, the meta tag has attributes. UTF-8 is encoding in the Unicode family of encoding, one of several. UTF-8 is the version we use for web pages. There are no dumb questions. Doctype meta tags. Do I need to really do all this to write web pages? Specify doctype and character encoding with a meta tag are kind of like taxes. You gotta do them to be compliant. Look at this way. You already understand them more than 98% of the web page writing population, which is great. But at the end of the day, everyone just puts the doctype and meta tag in their HTML and moves on with life. So make sure you got them in your HTML and then go do something much more fun. UTF-8 work with is here. It's like WD-40. You don't worry about why it's called that. You just use it. As we say it, UTF-8, also written sometimes as UTF-8, is part of the Unicode encoding family. The U in UTF-8 means Unicode. Unicode is a character set supported across many commonly used software application and operation system and is encoded to choice for the web because it supports all languages and multilingual documents that use more than one language. It's also compatible with ASCII, which was a common encoding for English-only documents. If you're interested in learning more about Unicode or character encoding in general, check out the information on character encoding at www.free.org International or HTML. Okay, I've also seen meta tags that look like this. Meta HTTP equiv content type content text slash HTML chset UTF-8. 8. Do I need to use this instead sometimes? No. That is the format for the meta tag in HTML4.0.1 and earlier. In HTML5 you can just write meta chset UTF-8. Is this why you had us save our files using a UTF-8 for the encoding way back in chapter 1? Yes, you want the encoding of the file you're serving to the browser to match the encoding to your specify in the meta tag, making the validator and more than a few browsers happy with a meta tag. The meta tag belongs in the head element. Remember that the head contains information about your page. Go ahead and add the meta tag line right into your HTML. Let's first add it to the long HTML file. Here's the tag meta. We added it to the head element above the title element, and this line is above any other elements in the head element. Want to place another bet? Is this going to validate? First, make the changes to your long HTML file, save it, and reload it into your browser. Once again, you won't notice any change, but their browsers will. Now let's see if it validates. Third time's that charm. This time we picked the second tab, validate by file upload. You can choose whichever method works best for you. If you want to try the upload method, then upload your long HTML file to the W3C validator webpage at http validator w3.org. Once you've done that, click the check button. And successfully checked as HTML5. Love the green. We'll still have one warning, but we don't need to worry about it. See below. Success. We can tell that both we're writing totally industry standard HTML, and we can even say we're reading for HTML5. This is just the same warning about the fact that we're using an experimental service. Nothing to worry about it. There are now no dumb question. The validator says it's experimental for HTML5. What does it mean? The message using experimental feature HTML5 conformance checker in the validator means that the validator is checking your HTML encoding according to the HTML5 standard, but because the HTML5 standard is final and still has new features being added, the validator is prone to change to the results you can get when you validate your page aren't set in stone. That means as conscientious developer, it's in your best interest to stay up to date on the HTML standard and check your pages fairly regularly. What have we really achieved in this chapter? My page still looks the same. In this chapter, we've tweaked your page slightly to that is compliant with the HTML specification. What good is that? The closer you are to the spec, the more likely that your page is going to perform well in the real world. If you're producing a professional web page, you want it to be written using the industry standard. And that's what we've done in the chapter by adding a doc type, setting a character encoding, and cleaning up an oversight, the alt attribute in the HTML. Why do we need that alt attribute anyway? For two great reasons. First, if your image is broken for some reason, say your image server goes down or your connection is really slow, the alt attribute will in most browsers show the alt text you specified in place of the image. Second, for vision impaired user who are using a screen reader to read the page, the screen reader will read the all text to the user, which helps them understand the page better. What if I tell the browser I'm using HTML5 and I'm not? The browser will figure out that you're not really writing HTML5 and use their handling capabilities. It has to try to do the right thing. And then you're back to the problem of having the various browsers handle your page in different ways. The only way you can get predictable results is to tell the browser you're using HTML5 and to actually to do so properly. And we talked a little about HTML5, but I want to make sure I'm clear. Is there any difference between the HTML? We're writing in HTML5. We're using standard HTML, which is HTML5 now. HTML5 introduced some new markup, which will be seen soon enough, as well as support for writing web applications, which we won't be doing in this book. But HTML5 is HTML, and everything you've been writing is HTML5 compliant. So sorry for the terminology, but going forward everything is just HTML, including all the new features provided by the HTML5 specification. The good news is that everything you've learned is already for HTML5, and in fact, you see how little you actually had to do to go from an informal HTML page to a professional HTML page. That said, you might want to tell your boss you're already using HTML5 just for bonus points toward your next raise. What's the big deal with HTML5 compared to HTML 4.0.1 anyway? The big deal about HTML5 is threefold. First, there are some new elements and attributes in HTML5 that are pretty cool, like the video element, and other that will help you write better pages. We'll be getting to those later in the book. Second, there are many new features that allow web developers to create web applications with HTML5. Web applications are web pages that behave more like applications like the ones you're using on your laptop or mobile device. Then static web pages. If you're interested in creating web applications, then after you're all done with this book, you should check out the first 5 to programming already. Finally, the HTML5 specification is a lot more robust than the specification for the previous version of HTML. Remember how we say that the specification is now document common errors that web developers make and helping browsers to know how to handle those errors. That means that web pages with errors on them don't cause the havoc they used to, which is good things for users. All in all, HTML5 is a big improvement over HTML 4.0.1 and will worth learning. Will get you up to speed quickly over the next few chapters. And calling all HTML professional, grab the handbook. We'll talk about this in the next lesson. This is our 35th lesson over. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, please like, share with friends, comment, eat bananas, chocolate and nuts, drink more water for the effective work of our brains. Bye.